Welcome, everyone. There's going to be it's going to be two more after this, and then I'm giving it up. It's going the way of the dodo, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be close to 100 of them when it's all done, I think, something like that. I'm so proud of the community that we had, and so happy, and look forward to seeing you all in person somewhere. Maybe in the middle of the country, we'll all converge and not be holograms with each other. But for now, I'm excited tonight. We have a nice group of guests coming later. Look at my shirt; it's got all junk on it. My cat. Oh wow, not professional tonight. Oh, I'm getting to the end now. I look like I just came in from parking in the yard. All right. But it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm excited about that. I've been to Ireland 3 times. But I'll talk about that later on. Let me play a couple songs and we'll get started. If you are watching this on any platform now, if it's not too much trouble, if you could go to my Facebook page and share it. That's how most people see this thing, and that's how we sort of expand the thing that we are ending. Let's expand this thing just before it ends. All right. If I stand back a little bit, you can't see as much cat hair on my stuff. That's good. I'll keep that in mind. Our kids are grown, they're both in their 20s. They live at home, they are never gonna leave. And why should they go? They've got a good ear. Their food, their phone, their rent is free. They would have to be out of their minds to leave. But I was thinking, what if things were different? Living here at home with you and me. What if we decided we could act like they both did when they were in their teens? So wake up, mama, climb out of this window. I have got the key, let's steal our daughter's car. We will both get really drunk, but we'll put a big dent in her trunk. We'll drive real fast down the thoroughfare. If we get a speeding ticket, we won't care. We'll be the ones up all night acting wild. They'll be the ones up all night worrying. Wake up, mama, climb out of this window. Come on out and be 16 with me. Picture our kids calling our friends up, asking them if they know where we are. Of course, all our friends will lie. They say they ain't seen us all night, but we'll be standing right beside them while they're on the phone, smoking, drinking, carrying on. And when we come strolling home on Sunday morning, around 10 o'clock while the neighbors walk to church, our kids will ask us where we've been, and then they'll ask us again, and we will just make up a great big lie and swear it's the truth until the day we die. And they'll be the ones trying to find the truth out. We'll be the ones lying through our teeth, and under pressure we'll confess that we had unprotected sex. That will gross them out so much they might just start to think about moving out. If turnabout is fair play in this life, then what better way to encourage them to live than to give them both a dose of what it was like to live with them when they were in their teens. So wake up, mama, climb out of this window. I have got the key, let's steal our daughter's car. We will both get really drunk, or we'll put a big dent in her trunk, and no one will know where we are until we come home in the police car. We'll be the ones up all night acting wild. They'll be the ones up all night worrying. Wake up, mama, climb out of this window. Oh man, be careful. You're not as young as you used to be. That's 40 feet down there. I should have brought a ladder, probably. You know what? The kids are both drunk and passed out. Let's just go out the front door. Come on out and be 16 with me. 'cause I remember you when you were 16. You were the most beautiful thing that I had ever seen. So wake up, mama, wake up, mama, wake up, mama, and be 16 with me. Well, the Thursday night is underway, ladies and gentlemen. The crowd is going wild.
That's good.
There we are. Look at everybody there. Hi, Tim, Shannon. Hi from New Mexico is represented. Hi, Sherry. Nice to see you. All right, here we are. Let me just play a couple and then we'll start chatting, talk about being Irish. Kevin, who's Connolly, he can't pretend he's not Irish. He asked me to play this, so can't say no to Irishmen on St. Patrick's Day. Much as I could, but I don't want to. I was on the highway, I was cruising along, I decided to put my seatbelt on. A minute later, baby, would you believe a Big Mac truck crashed into me? I told the policeman that it was okay. He said your seatbelt saved your life today. The ambulance driver, the EMTs, they all started singing this song to me. They said it's a great day to not be dead. Shoot you want, to not cave in your windshield with your head, in your windshield with your head. You're an ugly man, but if that occurred, believe in me, would be even uglier. And it's a great day to not be dead. Shoot you want. Later that evening with my family, we were sitting on the couch, we were watching TV. There was a drive-by shooting on the 6 o'clock news. They fired 15 bullets at one poor dude. He took one on the finger, one on the shin. The other 13 all missed him, so we called him up at the hospital and we sang to him over the telephone. We said, hey, it is a great day to not be dead. Shoot you want, to not have a bunch of bullets in your head. Oh, what wonderful luck you've got. The guy that tried to kill you was a terrible shot, and it's a great day to not be dead. The next news story on my TV set was that guy whose wife brought a knife to bed. 1 hour later, as the story goes, a part of his anatomy was laying by the road. Well, my sassy wife looked over and she smiled at me. She started singing this song to me. She said, hey, it's a great day to not be dead. To not have your wife bring a knife with her to bed. She said, I yell and I scream, I complain a lot, but at least I haven't cut no body parts off. And it's a great day to not be dead. Shoot, you know. Not cutting body parts off is a pretty good quality in a wife, really, when you think about it. If you're with somebody tonight, you've been with them any length of time and you're still put together anatomically the same way you were when you first met, I don't think it's inappropriate to say thank you on St. Patrick's Day. Thought about my car crash, my close call, I started getting sentimental. I said I love this house, I love you guys, I even love my rusty old car outside, and I'm so happy to be alive with you. Let's do all the things we always said that we would do. Let's go back to Ireland. I mean, it's a good place to hang, because this is a great day. It is a great day. It is a great day. It is a great day. It's a great day to not be dead. There you go.
Woo! All right, John.
Oh, hearing my friendly voices there. Sarah, was that you, girl?
That's me, baby.
Oh, well, the show can begin now. Sarah has arrived from California. Hello, how was teaching today? Were the kids good for you?
They were excellent, because I wore my power green.
Power green today. Yeah?
That's right.
Are you Irish, Sarah?
I am, partially, yes.
Yeah. So I went to Ireland 3 times. I took tours over there, Innisfree tours. I recommend them highly. It's a music tour. So you go and they just bring you around to like away from the touristy places, and you go to all these pubs and they put on private shows for you. You get to meet real Irish musicians and storytellers and liars and all sorts of things over there. It's really good. But then I was talking before we started the stream that um, my daughter had said, well, I had cancer, and when we had surgery, and it turned out that something else was going to kill me, not that probably, So when it turned out good after that, my daughter said the only thing I ever heard you say that you really wanted to do was to go to the Globe and see Shakespeare. And we went and we saw a play at the Globe, which I have to tell you, I mean, having thought I was going to die because of my cancer that I had, and then being at this dream place, I was I was a blubbering mess. I was so emotional. I love Shakespeare so much. I just can't even. To me, there's him, then like a space big enough to put a planet, and then whoever the next best writer is. That's how I feel about it. But then, because my wife is Irish, and McDermott, she's all the way Irish. She can't pretend she's not. We went to where her people were from, Northern Ireland, and that, I don't know what it depends on who you are, what you think is a good trip, but to me that was the best trip ever. Honestly, Sarah, like the people there their wounds haven't quite healed over yet, but everybody is really trying to get along over there now, and they talk, it's just amazing to be in a place that had so much trouble not that long ago. We went to Derry. When you come into Derry, there's a big sign that says you are entering the free state of Derry, and there are murals everywhere about all the troubles, and it's tense. It's a walled city. There's a 16th century stone wall around the inner part of the city, and the British set up on that wall, and they shot down into what they call the bog. So you could see where they were and how they just, down like that. And when we were on the wall walking around, but it was Saturday night, Friday night, and the kids were all up there partying, and we could hear them speaking English. But when we got close enough to hear what they were saying, they switched to Gaelic. They switched over to Irish. Like, everybody is still in the loose lips, sink ships zone over there. It's just fascinating, and they're so friendly, and they really, it's just a remarkable place to be. The street that my wife's grandfather lived on burned to the ground in the first troubles way back. And that was in Derry. So I recommend it. The people appreciate it when you go there in Belfast and Derry and all that, and they don't get, I don't think, as much tourism as the other part of Ireland. So, and there's all kinds of cool scenery there too. Sarah, do you want to hear anything? Can I play something for you?
I don't know. I'm kind of like in a really good mood. I was just kind of rocking out, drop kick.
All right, let's keep that way. Let's stay that way. In the 18, 19, 20, 30, 40, I don't know how many now, 43 years that we have been wed, I wondered if you ever heard a word I said, till I said pass that remote control over here, and you told me to blow it out my ear. I love you, you're a sassy brat, you make me mad and you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow with my sassy brat. When my fans call up and say that I'm great, you tell them that is a huge mistake. That if they had to live with me, they would understand what a big pain in the ass I am. I love you, you're a sassy brat. You make me mad and you make me laugh. God, please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow old with my sassy brat. There are men who like women that they can dominate them, bring them breakfast in bed, and always tell them that they're great. Well, my sassy lady never does that for me, but at least her life with her is definitely not boring. She says if you want me to believe that you're great, do a couple loads of laundry around here someday. Hey pal, if it's only because you're still kinda cute that I haven't already gotten rid of you. I love you, you're a sassy brat. You make me mad and you make me laugh. Please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow old in my sassy brat. You say the kids have both gone to the show. How about a little quickie before they come home? I say, I suppose you think you're really slick, the way that you keep emphasizing little and quick. I'm not that sure I love you, you sassy brat. You hurt my big fat ego and you make me mad. Please don't cut our time in half, let me grow in my sassy brat. Sassy bratty lady been hanging around here, driving me crazy all of these years. If I could ever afford to see a psychiatrist, I'd ask him why the hell do I like being treated like this. We were in bed but we were still awake. You said I really love you in this life we've made. I said, hey, can I quote you on what you just said? You told me if I did you'd punch me in the head. I love you, you sassy brat. Make me mad, make me laugh. Please don't cut our time in half. Let me grow old in my sassy brat. Hope it's not too much to ask. Let me grow older with my sassy brat.
Oh, Don.
Yay!
No Braverman, he's feeling Irish today, isn't he? How you doing,
Hey.
Neil?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Were you able to check the show out last night? Did you?
Can I say a word about that?
If you don't mind.
I just want to say to you, my friend, since I actually didn't get a chance to say anything at your birthday party event, I wanted to say that number one, the reasons that all of us were there, really, that were in the room that night of your birthday party, was because of one person in the world, and that is you.
Oh, nice.
Every single person that I now know, whether it's in these little tubes or it's starting to be in these other places, is because of you, my dear friend Don White. And yes, I did see the entire tribute to Scott Alaric last night, and my friend Don White, you were the key essential issue on scene. You were just at ease. You were saying about how much you love Scott, just like you say how much you love so many people in this world, and you do, and I know that personally. And I just want to thank you for that, Don, because your story that you gave last night at Passim's was bar none the best story of anybody. And
Neil, you're making me blush, but I'll accept it. I take it from you. I'm careful about these sort of things. I don't want it to, but I appreciate that. That's what I'm saying. So Scott Alaric, for those of you that don't know, who's ever watching, he was a very dear friend of mine, and he knew everything there was to know about folk music, and he was a writer about it, and everybody in this scene that came up in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, if you go through their quotes on their press kit, almost everyone has a quote from Scott Alaric. He just helped everybody's career out, gave you a boost. But he was more than that to me. He was my friend. Like I always wanted to be with him, and he died suddenly. And so we had a memorial for him last night at Passim, and it was emotional and uplifting and really important. I got to, a bunch of things happened. So first of all, it was like It's like a time machine from 1993 open mics. So like Jim Infantino was there, and Dar Williams, and Vance Gilbert, and all these people that I came up with, and we're all a little longer in the tooth. Is that how you say it? We're all a little more gray in our beard, or whatever. There's many Shakespeare has many many ways of saying that. We have a little less fire in our blood. That's another Shakespeare thing. But anyway, we were all there, so it was emotional on that level. But I also got to meet Chris Smither, who I am a huge fan of. I was a little starstruck actually, but I got to tell him what a big fan I am of his, and I got to sing with him at the end, and it was really, really an amazing night. And as I was saying earlier, the part about it that I missed about performing, but I'm not like I don't miss that like as much as you would think, the being on stage. I'm glad to do it, and all that, but I really miss the camaraderie. And man, we had camaraderie for days last night, and it was great. And
it was a great show. And Marilyn Ray Beyer was there, and I know Tim and Shannon were there on the live stream with me. I said hi to them, but I don't think they heard me. But and Christine did a nice part on video, and
it was set up beautifully. There was 4 of us on the stage, or 4 groups on the stage, and we all did a song and talked about Scott. Then the second part was video. They turned the room around, and everybody got to watch videos from people all over the country and the world sing a song and talking. And then 3 more people at the end, and then we all sang. It was long, and it was good, and it was great, and I felt really charged up by it. So Scott Alric is, I miss him a lot. He was, he was good. And thanks for attending that.
I loved it. I enjoyed it.
Did you get to talk to Bartley at all? I was wondering.
Say that again?
I was wondering if you got to talk to Bartley at all. We cut off, the internet cut off right around Marilyn Beyer.
I talked to Bartley. I always talk to him. So I got to see him and tell him that I love him, and that that there's a lot of love for him and all that. So he was there. He was laying low, being in the back, but it was good to see him. First time I seen him since COVID. Jeff Bartley.
That was part of the mythology, right? That the last book that Scott wrote, his hero, and it was actually Bartley.
Say that again, Shannon?
But the last book that Scott wrote, Revival.
Yeah.
That the lead character was actually Bartley.
Well, it's Scott. We talk about that quite a lot. It's a Jeff Bartley like character.
Really? Okay.
Well, that's what he said. He told me. Scott wrote of the 2 books, but the most interesting thing, which I think I was the only person to bring it up, was that when he turned 18, he registered as a conscientious objector and spent his 18th and 19th year in federal prison on principle. So
you did say that. Yeah.
That separates him from everybody in my.
Well, Gary Hicks did too.
Did he?
Yeah.
At 18, yeah. We'll see.
Oh yeah.
Scott's the only person that I knew who did that on principle. He did it, and I gave away those years. 18 and 19, those are good years. When you look at them from 65, you think, I could give a couple away now, but those are prime ones. So the place that Scott holds in my heart, I don't think I said this last night, but I'll say it now, is his alone. Nobody else is qualified to be in there, and I was just really thrilled to be able to celebrate his life with. I got to meet his family and all that. And when he sang, they played a song. They played a song of his live over the intercom. It was a killer. Like I couldn't even take it. Do you want to hear a little bit of a new song? Like, it's not done yet, but here, this is it. I'll send this. This is just for my people.
We'll be your guinea pigs.
Yeah. Well, I hardly ever do this because I don't want to hear your opinion on it because it's not done yet. But I just want to play it. She painted her life story in such a warm and gentle tone. The dreams that grew in her garden were stronger than this world would ever know. Something like that. But it has got a bunch of verses now. I'm working on it. It's going to be a song. What I'm trying to do with this is build up, try to shine as much light on quiet dreams as the other dreams get, like the people who are going for the gold. I just trying to get there, and I can really sink my teeth into this idea. So any of you that are writing songs, if your next song is on that subject, you'll be getting visited by a leg breaker friend of mine that I know.
Gary?
It's not the song, it's the idea, right? It's the thing that has the most value is the unique idea in this world, in the songwriting world. All right.
We'll send Gary against us, eh?
What's his name?
Gary.
Oh, from the book. All right, let's do that. So I saw Darwin.
What happened to Gary?
That's not his name, thank God, you know. So in the book, he was my babysitter, and believe now that he's no longer among the living. But prior to that, he was incarcerated. So Dar Williams played a song last night called the Babysitter Song. I don't know if you know that, but it may be my favorite song ever written. If you want to look it up sometime, called The Babysitter's Here. I can't listen to it without being emotional. And I said to her last night, I go, I'm glad you played that. It's my favorite song. And she goes, you know, sometimes, Don, I introduce it by telling the story that you told me. And I told her this story. I go, Dar, I love that song so much. I go, and I had totally different experience. My babysitter, as soon as my mother left, all his friends came over. They had big drunk parties. We loved it. You know, I couldn't go to bed at night. There were people sleeping in my bed, you know, with their girlfriends. And like, I had a completely, totally different babysitter experience, but yours still kills me. so yeah. When I talk about my, like last week I talked about being in junior high school. Like when I talk about my childhood, I can feel people worrying about me. That's, you know, like this poor child. But it turned out okay. So here, this is a little something about being Irish. So my dad was Irish, and he had other things in him, but he never claimed those. He only claimed the Irish part. That, you know, I think if you dug into it, he was French Canadian too, but. He never bragged about that. He bragged about being Irish. His mother was a Buckley, I think, and but he married a Greek, and that would have been in 1956, and in those days, that was like marrying someone from another planet. It was considered, you know, like it was trouble. Both sides of the family were totally against it. You know, my grandfather wouldn't come, the Greek guy wouldn't come to the wedding. He wouldn't talk to anybody. It was, you know, all that. But they just plowed ahead and did it. And so I was raised in these two totally separate cultures. The cultures are so different. And when I think about it, you know, it made me feel like an alien sometimes. But when I'm on stage, when I'm performing, I feel like they both contribute to me. Like the Greeks are emotional, like they're not afraid to show their hearts. They're that way, and loud and, you know, all that. But the Irish are quick, funny, and, you know, all that. So I feel like I call them into play as a performer more than other places in my life. But as you can imagine, growing up with these two cultures was so unusual. So this is my first book that I wrote. It's called Memoirs of a C Student. This thing's 15 years old now. I just wrote a new book called The Hitchhiking Years, but I'm sick of reading out of that, so I'm going to read this here because it's St. Patrick's Day. On Christmas Day, we would visit both sides of the family. The Greeks all lived in a 3-story tenement with the grandparents on the first floor and the aunts and uncles on the second and third. As children, we would spend the day running up and down the stairs. Every door you opened revealed an apartment full of olive-skinned relatives who loved you. They loved you in a Mediterranean way. What does that mean? That means they fed you and they hugged you. Greeks hug. They pinch you on the cheek. They force food on you until you are ill, and then they squeeze you until you are gasping for air. So I want everybody to unmute so I can hear you while I'm reading, unless you're in a noisy place. And they're gasping for air. Another noteworthy thing about these people is that there are precious few situations imaginable to them where being loud would be considered inappropriate.
Oh, yeah.
Just picturing all the Greeks in my house, at my grandmother's house. Oh my God. We would leave there in the late afternoon and spend the rest of the day with the Irish half of the family. It all seemed perfectly normal back then, but in retrospect, it was like going to another planet. The first obvious difference we encountered at the Irish house: no touching. Do not touch Irish people unless you are punching them. When we would arrive, my aunts and uncles would begrudgingly give us what I like to call the Irish hug. An Irish hug is when they put their arms around you as if they are being forced to do so at gunpoint.
And slap you.
1/4 of 1 second into this reluctant embrace, they begin to tap you on the back. Back tapping is the key ingredient of the Irish hug. It is actually a message being tapped out in Morse code. This is the translation. I hate this.
Oh, dear.
I hate this. Please let me go. I'll give you money. Let's go have a drink. The second obvious difference is that the Irish house provides safe harbor to an extremely sophisticated sense of humor. The complexities of the Irish sense of humor deserve an entire book of research. The Irish are born with a huge genetic advantage in the field of humor and storytelling. When an Irish person is weaving a tale, the listener is always engaged. The listener may actually be aware of the fact that what he or she is hearing is 80% blarney, but still, it is captivating. This is a tremendous gift to give to the world. It also lends itself nicely to a career in politics. It's always seemed to me that God overcompensated the Irish with wit and humor to make up for their abysmal ineptitude in cooking.
Well,
If you are going to curse an entire nation to a lifetime of dinners boiled beyond recognition, you really do owe them something big in return. You have a friend, her name is Katie Morse. I saw her recently, actually, and she told me one time, an Irish woman knows when her meat is done, when it turns gray.
Great. So true.
The third obvious difference is volume. These are not loud people. Now, several years ago, I was installing an alarm system, which, as many of you know, was what I did for a day job for all those years. I was installing an alarm system in a house full of Italians. The grandfather could not speak one syllable of English. He used hand signals to beckon me over to a door in the back of the basement that opened to a room where he was making wine. We had a few glasses. It was very strong. After our second glass, we had miraculously bridged our language barrier. I pointed to a covering that was on a heat pipe that was running across the ceiling, and I said, "This is asbestos. And he raised his glass and he said, and I raised my glass and I said, asbestos, this will kill you. Said, asbestos kill you. And then we had some more wine. Later that day, I heard people yelling upstairs. The whole family was screaming at the top of their lungs. Now, I'm accustomed to hearing women yell. My mother yells all the time. My mother will yell about anything. It's just one of her daily activities. Often she's not even angry. She just comes from a family who believes in the theory that the loudest person wins. My dad, on the other hand, the Irish guy, he never yells when he gets angry. And you Irish people, all you people that are actually Irish, you know I'm right about this. He never yells when he gets angry. Instead, he seethes. He seethes. As a child, my experience with the sound of a man raising his voice was that he had been seething over something for a week, and this was the sound you heard when his head finally exploded. What always followed this sound was trouble, great, big, very real trouble. So I am running wires over asbestos-covered pipes in the Italian basement for an alarm system to protect the illegal winery. When the entire family starts screaming, the men are so loud you could hear them a block away. I fully expect to hear gunfire. I consider climbing out a window, leaving my tools behind, and trying to escape with my life. But instead, I climb to the top of the basement stairs, expecting to see blood and battered bodies. I peek around the door to the dining room, and I see all 10 of them sitting around the table, passing around pastry. Passing around pastry and screaming at each other. For a moment, it was all so surreal to me that I thought the old man might have given me some psychedelic wine. No wonder he needed an alarm system. So finally, I watched for a while and finally realized that Italians are like Greeks, only louder. They can scream at you, feed you, call you an idiot, and love you all at the same time. It is amazing to witness. It is so not Irish.
Ice cream for pastries.
What's that? Say that
I
again?
said I scream for pastries.
Oh, oh boy.
They weren't screaming for them.
Sorry.
The pastries were just like something they were doing while they were screaming at each other. The Greeks are like that too. It's amazing, you know. And when we like the cultures are so different. You would like traumatized if you know whatever. So that's
You need the calories to do the screaming.
What's that?
Yeah.
You need the calories to do the screaming.
It's like an exercise program, right? You have to bulk up for it. So this is the older book, Memoirs of a AC Student. This is a desktop, an old desktop. That's what I said last week. I am, I'm this old that I sat at a desk in school that used to have an inkwell in it. And here's my new book. It's called The Hitchhiking Years. That's a picture of my wife and I. In year one of a 3-year hitchhiking adventure. We hitchhiked for 3 years. Both of these books are available at donwhite.net, and if you buy 1 or 2 of them, or however many you buy, I will think of you when I'm going to the grocery store. That's all I can say. So let me play for 45. Let me play one more song and then we'll have our spoken word piece of this event. So going back to last night, one of the things that Scott Elric was really big on was talking about working people and organizing and how you shouldn't be afraid to be a working person, and how you shouldn't, and how Pete Seeger and Utah Phillips and these guys, they did a lot of things in the world, but it's from his perspective and mine as well. The most important thing is that they fought for working people to be able to organize and to be able to have a voice at the table. And so I only got to play one song last night, but so I played this song, which I don't believe Scott ever got to hear. But this is it's called One Little Drop, and it's a song just encouraging people to not be afraid to stand up for a decent wage and the ability to not keep your home out of foreclosure. All the work gets done in the valley, all the money rains down on the mountain top. When the money trickles down to the people in the valley, it's only one little drop to feed the family, one little drop to pay the medical bill, one little drop to pay the mortgage to the banker who sold it to the man at the top of the hill. Oh, they work so hard to divide us with a steady stream of lies. 'Cause if we ever stop fighting with each other, we might start asking each other why. If all the work gets done in the valley, why does all the money rain down on the mountain top? When the money trickles down to the people in the valley, why is it just a little drop? One little drop to feed the family, one little drop to pay the medical bill, one little drop to pay the mortgage to the banker who sold it to the man at the top of the hill. Keep on buying those politicians and those TV newsmen too. Make them say every day that my problem is my neighbor, when I know that my problem is you. Just keep lying about corporate tax breaks, how the jobs are gonna trickle down. But beware of the day when the people say that they are sick of being trickled on. One little drop to feed the family, one little drop to pay the medical bill, one little drop to pay the mortgage to the banker who sold it to the man at the top of the hill. Enjoy your view of the valley from that house on top of the hill. Right now the giant is sleeping, that doesn't mean that it always will. 'Cause when the sleeping giant starts moving, it is impossible to stop. You know every flood that ever washed a city away started with a little drop. One little drop will start an ocean, one little drop will start the rain, one little drop will start the flood that's coming to wash the gilded city away. If all of the work gets done in the valley, why does all the money rain down on the mountain top? When the money trickles down to the people in the valley, why is it just a little drop? All right.
Woo! All right, John.
Everybody.
Nice job.
Thank you. All right. So we instituted, well, you know, one of the great joys of this for all these months, these last couple of years, is that I've been able to share my friends with everybody. You know, in my life, kind of like Andy Off at Irwin's, is divided up into separate worlds: comedy and music and poetry and all these things. So there's a mix all over the place. And so before in COVID, I could separate them all. I could folk show over here, and my comedy thing here, and my working class thing here, and my more educated group over here, and all that. But now they're just mashed together online. So I've just been sharing my different worlds with everybody. And so, as many of you know, starting in 2015, I started doing storytelling, and it really lit my life up quite a bit. It expanded my world in ways that would take a long time to explain how much. First of all, I was in a situation at 60 years old where I knew that I had a lot to learn, which that hadn't happened to me for a while before that. But I was like, oh man, some of these people are really good. And so I've been doing that now. That's been another part of my life, and I've got to meet some fantastic storytellers. And so I'm going to use this 10 minutes here before we take a break to introduce you to my friend Alan Dubay. He's been here quite a bit. He's a good supporter of the arts.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
He's gonna perform till 8 o'clock or thereabouts. We'll take a short break, and then I'll come back and play for another 20 minutes or so. Then we'll have our after party. So Alan is going to be a major contributor to the Kansas Storytelling Festival, and myself and Andy are going to be there in April. So we're looking forward to doing that. And Tommy and Marlene are going to come down from Nebraska, so we're going to have that lunch that COVID killed 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
A lunch date that COVID killed 2 years later. And so, Alan, I'm glad to see you. And as I've said many times, I think the world of you. Your heart is as big as a barn, as they say, and you're good to everybody. And it's been a pleasure to get to know you. So, why don't you tell us a couple stories here? Use up your 10 minutes, my friend.
Hey, I'm going to start out with a couple of poems that I've written. And the first poem is called Miss You. I wish you were still here. Instead, I'm stuck here with a tear, wishing I could call you one more time, dying when you should be in your prime. Sometimes I knew not what to do. I would call you for a clue, a call to you I cannot make. The day you died, my heart did break. People ask me how I'm doing, sitting here, my mind is stewing, overthinking my whole life, feeling a pain that stings like a knife. I try to be strong for the one still here, but sometimes I go to bed with fear that I might be the next to go. In this life, you never know. You think you're healthy, think you're strong, but many learn they are wrong. Every day we must be ready. Each day we must be steady. We learn that life is just a flicker. That life might end a whole lot quicker. My wish for me, my wish for all, say I love you before death's call.
Beautiful, Alan.
Oh, Alan, that was really
Very nice.
Woo!
Thank you.
Beautiful.
My next poem is called If I Could See You. If I could see you, would you be walking or swimming in an ocean or flying across the sky? Would I see you swimming like an all-knowing dolphin, reciting the philosophy of now and then and telling me the reality of our world? Would you be a peacock flying over a rainbow, dropping a tear of peace, blurring the colors of our existence? If you were flying on a bad day, would I see you sputter or fly a little lower so I could give you a hug? On a good day, could gravity even hold you? Or would you be found in the stratosphere, wrapped in between the layers of hot and cold, sleeping on an aromatic cloud of love?
Woo! Ooh, that's nice.
Wow, that's great.
Great,
Beautiful.
thank you.
And now I'm going to tell you one of my tall tales. It all started off with a toothache. It was the kind of toothache where it felt like someone was constantly hammering a nail right into my tooth. I called up the dentist, but they weren't able to schedule me until Friday. And it was until Monday, and it was currently Friday. And so I had to endure the weekend. Now, when I say I had to endure the weekend, well, everybody else had to endure the weekend too, because I had heard that chewing on garlic relieved the pain of a toothache. And so they had to endure my bad breath. Well, Monday came along, and I went out to my car and I reached into my pocket to get my keys, but my keys weren't there. I had accidentally locked them in my house. I walked all the way around the house and I realized the only way in was through the window air conditioner unit. And so I picked it up and I pulled it out and I walked right through my window. I found my keys on my couch and I went out and I started up my car and it started right up. And I started off down the highway. You see, my dentist is a good 35 miles away. And when I was about 20 miles into my trip, I saw flashing lights behind me. I pulled over and a 6'6" highway patrolman with a long beard came to the window. He looked at me and said, "Do you realize why I pulled you over?" I said, "No, I have no idea." "You don't realize that you've been leaking a fluid all over my highway?" I didn't know, and I didn't even know it was his highway. Man, he said, "You'd best step out of the car and we'd better figure this all out." And so I got out of the car and we walked around to the back and he knelt down and he got a great big whiff of gasoline. "This is a major environmental offense," he said. "We've got to walk back to where it all started." And we walked the 2 miles back to where the trail started. And right on the highway where it started, there was a bullet. And he tossed it at me. I flinched back thinking it might be hot, but it was freezing cold. I couldn't figure it out. And that's when the officer said, "Ah, yes, I've seen this before. A hunter will be out in the woods hunting in the middle of the winter, and it will be so cold out that when he shoots, the bullet will freeze in midair. And today, in the first day of spring, it just happened to be warm enough, and that bullet unthawed, and it continued at its previous velocity right at your gas tank." Well, I wasn't sure if that was what had happened, but I was not one to argue with the highway patrolman. And that officer, being mighty proud of himself, got out a cigar and he started to light it. But his beard had gotten into the gasoline and his beard started on fire, and he brushed it off and he dropped it right onto the highway, right onto that trail of gasoline, and a fire shot down the highway, and the officer went running right into the line of fire. I jumped to the side because I didn't want to get burned and started running beside him. And when we were almost up to our cars, I yelled, "Stop, it's gonna blow." And we both stopped and we watched as my car caught on fire and exploded, and parts of it landed in the neighboring field, starting it on fire. And his car, of course, it's right behind mine, and it started on fire also, and parts of it exploded and landed in the other field on the other side of the highway, starting it on fire too. Now, you might think that the worst part of this story has happened, but it hasn't. You see, there was a car coming towards us. Now, it was able to avoid the debris, but then out of nowhere hopped a ninja hopping frog right onto the hood of that car, and it launched itself right at my forehead, knocking me backwards, and my head hit on the highway. My tooth dislodged and rolled back into my throat, making me both unconscious and unable to breathe. And the officer looked back and said, "I think we're going to need an ambulance also." He came back and started doing CPR on me. And just when he came up to breathe in my mouth, my tooth dislodged and shot into his throat and lodged in his throat, and he collapsed on top of me.
Oh, goodness.
And that's when the local paparazzi showed up. You know, the people that are always listening in on their scanner radios to be the first one to the scene to report their version of the story on Snapchat, Facebook, and Chitter. Well, I may have just invented a new social network there. Well, I don't even want to know their version of the story. But anyhow, the police arrived and shut down the highway. The ambulance came and took the officer and myself away to the hospital to be checked out, and the fire trucks came and put out the fires. Now, you might think that the worst part of this story has happened, but once again, it is not. You see, my insurance company has claimed this is all my fault. All $500,000 worth of damages from the vehicles, the highway, and the fields. However, I have been able to hire a lawyer to prove that this is not my fault or the deer hunter's fault, but the ammunition manufacturer's fault for making a bullet that could freeze in midair.
Bravo.
Oh, Alan, that was awesome.
That's a great story.
Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you, Alan. That was fabulous.
That was great.
That was great.
I hope you
If
got
it
a
had a
million
toothpick.
for it.
Yeah.
Did you in the office or go out for lunch?
All I can think about is the Kansas paparazzi.
That's another good thought. Doing.
Alan, I just think you're fantastic, and what a great, great friend you are to me and to everybody, and a great storyteller and a poet.
yes.
So, if you're going to be with us in the after party sometime around 9 or so, you're welcome to do another story and join us there. Until then, let's everybody thank my friend Alan DeBay.
All right, Alan.
Thank you,
All right,
Alan.
Ellen.
All right, I'm gonna just go have a glass of water. I'll be back in 3 minutes. If you this is free, so you all know. But if you're able to throw a few bucks in the hat, that would be great. I pay Brandon, the technician, and so that's the main concern, to make sure that I don't have to ask my wife for money to pay the technician. She's okay if I don't make any, but it can break even, but it can't lose money. That's her rule. And so that would be great. The information is in your chats. When we come back, I'll play 20 minutes or so, and then around 8:30 we'll have our after party. We have Andy off at Irwin here, but Alan will be back. Brian Dozer is going to pop in, and Pat Wichter from New York also, I think, is going to be with us today. So I'm trying to get as many people that I in before I stop doing these. So we'll see you in just a few minutes, and thank you, everybody. We'll see you in just a couple. Hello everyone, that was Steve Rapson. That's his music. He's a friend of mine, lives locally here in Massachusetts. So actually he's in Florida, I think, in the wintertime. But lovely music there. So Alan, one of his poems made me think of this. That poem that said, be sure and tell people you love them. So let me tell you a little story here. I don't like to tell road stories or stories about being a musician. I just feel like they're tired, you know what I mean? Like they're not as interesting as other things. But this one, it was pretty good. So I made a big hunk of my living with people in recovery. I haven't had a drink since I guess it was 1990. So a lot of performance private shows that I do are for people who are in recovery. So I got a gig. A private show was going to be a wedding between two people in recovery. So right away, I was intrigued, you know. It's a high risk operation, that one. It was my daughter was booking these smaller things for me. So she called me and she said, you know, you have to report back to me about this person. I go, why? She goes, I only talked to her on the phone for a half hour, but she was so interesting, and I don't think I've ever talked to anybody quite like her. So I didn't know what that meant. I wasn't sure what she was talking about, but I was intrigued. So I go. It's a small place in South Boston, and before I get there, a week before, she tells me that it's not going to be a wedding anymore. That something happened to the boyfriend, the husband, and she didn't know what that was about, and I go, why am I still going? She goes, I'm telling you, this is an extraordinary person. You have to figure this out for me. It's going to be a celebration of life. So I go and I'm intrigued. So I meet this woman. Her name was Joan Lynch. And right away, I'm just charmed and smitten by her right away. And she's she's dressed. She just looks so happy. And I thought, like, is this a facade? Is she, you know, is she just a great actress or what? But she was just as happy to be with her friends for this reason as for getting married. And like, I didn't really understand it. I couldn't figure her out. But she just kind of charmed me. And she had these shoes on. They were red and they had like, I don't know, like sparkly diamond things all on them. It looks like if she clicked her heels, you know, she could float off, right, with them. And I put my shoe next to hers. And she took a picture of it, the comparison of the two shoes. And, you know, I as she was going back to, the music started. I was going to play after a DJ was on. And the music started and she went to the dance floor. And as she was walking away, she said, I have stage 4 breast cancer. And it's in my bones. Which, you know, I'm not that smart, but I knew that's a last stage kind of place to be, right? And then I watched her dance. She was on the dance floor, and you know, it moved me a great deal. You know how in a movie sometimes you'll see a scene where the dance floor will clear and just there'll be a light on somebody dancing by themselves? It was like that. And I thought about it, you know, people for whom tomorrow is a question mark, they see the world differently. You know, when they dance, you never saw anybody dance like that before. When she hugged me, I never had a hug like that. I felt like we could just lift up off the ground. And when they smile, it like cracks the glass on your eyes. They're like holy people to me. You know, people for whom tomorrow is not certain, right? Or that's a question mark. So I went home and wrote this song. It's called Last Dance, and it's really about that idea of, you know, using your minutes well. And thanks, Alan, for making me think of this. She told me she was stage 4. She walked onto the dance. Sorry. She told me she was stage 4. She walked onto the dance floor like it was the last dance of her life. I never saw a smile so bright. I never got a hug so tight, never saw a dance hall light illuminate a soul so bright. These eyes have seen a lot of things, but they never saw angel wings till they watched a woman dancing like it was the last dance of her life. Like it was the last dance, like it was the last dance, like it was the last dance of her life. I know that people love the old cliches, how everybody ought to seize the day. They post them on their social page every hour of every day. But you've gotta love the irony of sitting down at a computer screen, posting carpe diems day and night, while your life goes passing by. I never saw a smile so bright, never got a hug so tight, never saw a dance hall light illuminate a soul so bright. These eyes have seen a lot of things, but they never saw angel wings till they watched a woman dancing like it was the last dance of her life. Like it was the last dance, like it was the last dance, like it was the last dance of her life. Maybe tomorrow I will try to write a song about this precious life. But tonight I'd rather live this life than describe it while it's passing by. She told me she was stage 4. She walked onto the dance floor. Her body started moving like this was the last dance of her life. Like it was the last dance, like it was the last. It was the last dance of her life.
Wow, thank you.
Oh, Don, that was so special. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
Thanks.
Beautiful song.
I think it's important to speak people's names even after they're gone. So that's Joan Lynch. That first photograph of her, that was at Club Passim. She would come to my shows right from the hospital. She like that show there. She came. She was like unplugged herself. They said like, you're getting treatments here. What are you doing? She's like, I have to go see Dawn, right? And she looked so beautiful. Like she always dressed that way. And her friends told me that even if she had one good hour a day, she wanted to dress up and look good so that people wouldn't worry about her. She was that kind of person. So yeah, I feel like I was enriched by her, and you know, I think invoking people's names and you know is good, right? So all right, a couple more tunes and then the after party, baby. My dad said, son, if you keep going on this way, bad report card, real bad report card, you are gonna wind up as a lumper on a cruise someday. I said, Dad, What's a lumper? I was laughing so hard, rolling on the floor. Dad, no one uses words like lumper anymore. The guys are outside. It's Friday night. I gotta go. See you later, and thanks for the lecture. If you keep doing the things you are doing, if these things that you are doing don't do you in, they can always use another lumper down on the Second Chance crew. Me, Billy Bob, Rick and Ray, those were my drinking buddies, living for the party every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And don't forget Sunday, one by one they moved away from home. You know, the time went by, the next thing I know, I'm 31, I'm drinking with a bunch of 19-year-olds. What a loser, man, what a loser if you keep doing the thing you are doing. What a loser if the things you are doing don't do you in. They can always use another lumper on the Second Chance crew. Second Chance people got a touch of gray, partied their teens and their 20s away, but now they're sober, starting over, and they're 32. They're just so glad to be working on the Second Chance crew. Those pallets aren't gonna move themselves, lumper. That's right, you should have went to school a little more often. I wound up in the program, I know that's no surprise. I make the minimum wage, but at least I didn't die. My knees are aching and my back is sore. I've been dragging these ladders across the plywood floor. Dad, I never wonder what a lumper is anymore. You don't want to know why? Cause I'm a lumper, that's right. If you keep doing the things that you are doing, if these things that you are doing don't do you in, they can always use another lumper on the Second Chance crew. He said if you keep doing the things that you are doing, if these things that you are doing don't do you in, they can always use another lumper on the Second Chance crew. Smoke it, drink it, and puff it up your nose while your education goes up in smoke. Now when you're in your 30s and the party is through, saving you a seat at the meeting and a job lumping on the crew. A seat at the meeting, at the meeting, a seat at the meeting. It's like a revival, really. A seat at the meeting, a seat at the meeting. Hi, I'm Don. I'm an alcoholic. Seat at the meeting.
Hi, Don.
Hi, Dawn.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's an inside joke if I ever heard one. A seat at the meeting and a job lumping on the crew. Seat at the meeting and a job lumping on the crew. All right.
Woo!
You
Nice
rock.
job.
All right, done.
All right. Let me leave you with this one. Again, thank you to everyone who was able to throw up a few bucks in there. Looks like I'm gonna be able to pay Brandon. That's my main focus here, and to be with you all. Appreciate that very much. This has been a long run, the 2 years, and I think Andy would agree with this, and anybody who's getting back out there into the world, that you don't realize what you're giving up while you're giving it up, because it's not healthy for you to be thinking about that. You're like, okay, I just have to do other things now, right? But when you start to inch back into it, the curtain opens, you get these swells of emotion, thinking, man, I've really missed this. I've given up a great deal, with hopefully some grace and dignity, but I did give it up. And so I think if you had a friend who wasn't doing well before COVID, probably COVID didn't help them any, it's not a bad idea even now still, give somebody a call. You might be the only person they talk to in a month or something. Small thing to do that matters, but I think the most important thing, I don't want to pontificate here, but I love you. I want you to be okay. is to take care of yourself. Remember, you're no good to anybody unless you're okay with yourself. So this song is called "The Painter." It's not one I sing too much, but I'm feeling. I'm starting to realize that I'm going to give this up in a couple of weeks, and that I really do like doing it, and I like seeing you all, and that just want to do some of these things here for you. So in this portrait of sadness in the big gallery, there is a man in the foreground in such misery, but the horizon behind him is vibrant and bright. We see him staring into darkness, but covered in light. If I were the painter, I would paint you with wings, and I would dress you in the colors that come in the spring. And when your heart was in darkness and you were alone, I'd paint sunshine around you and wings to carry you home. In this portrait of anger and low self-esteem, we see a woman in danger of a life without dreams. And as I stare at her shoulders, Lord, all I can see is this mountain of burden where wings ought to be. If I were the painter, I would paint you with wings, and I would dress you in the colors that come in the spring. And when your heart was in darkness and you were alone, I'd paint sunshine around you and wings to carry you home. This face in my mirror, this portrait of me, is constantly changing for the whole world to see. But the hand on the brushes that color this face is the hand that belongs to the person it paints. If I am the painter, I will paint me with wings, and I will dress me in the colors that come in the spring. And when my heart is in darkness and I am alone, I will paint sunshine around me and wings to carry me home. I will paint sunshine around me and wings to carry me home. Thank you for another nice
Beautiful, Dawn.
Beautiful, Don. Thanks so much.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
worst comedy show on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. Here it is, right.
The best.
Uh,
Best.
I'm just gonna take 1 minute and refresh a little bit and come back. We'll have our sort of round with my friends, and thanks to everybody who was able to throw a few bucks in. It's not too late. Information's in your chats, and I'll be back in 1 minute, maybe two at the most, and we'll have a little after party. All right. All right. Welcome back, everybody. It's after party time. I see Brian Dozer's in the house. Welcome, Brian. Brandon, keep an eye out for Pat Victor. He should be trying to pop in here sometime. If we don't see him, if you have his email, just drop him a note.
There he is right now.
Oh, there he is, Pat Victor. So let's start with Brian. Brian, how are you, my friend?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Long time no see.
I know. I've been in a play with my daughter. We're rehearsing. We're doing Our Town.
Well, that's cool. Are you doing it in your town?
We are. It's good. It's have you ever seen it?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. So
well,
they say after pandemics, it's had a tendency to have a revival.
Well, I bet it was big in 1920, 1919.
Well, it wasn't written then, but.
Well, we'll chat a little bit later, catch up. But why don't you start us out with a tune? You sound pretty good. We didn't do a sound check, but I think your sound is okay.
I think I'm dialed in. I don't know about my camera though.
Looks good.
It's kind of an older one.
Oh, I see. There you go, the black and white one.
That's one thing that got better during the pandemic was we could afford more electronics right here.
Why
Make
don't you
ourselves
strum
look
and
better.
strum and play just a little bit, just to make sure you're not drowning out.
Too loud?
I
Not
think
loud
it's
enough?
loud, yeah.
Yeah, the
What's that?
guitar's loud.
It's loud, yeah.
All right, let me turn it down.
Bring it down just so it doesn't drown out your vocals. Hi, Pat Richter. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Pat's in square number 21 over here. All right, have at it, Brian.
All right, here we go. This is a song I wrote called "Sometimes I Have to Cry Out Loud." Sometimes I have to cry out loud at the bitterness of people I have found. They should get in their cars and just go away and leave that gray overcast for some other day. Sometimes I have to cry out loud at the anger of some people I have found. They need to punch and claw it all away, and they might have found me willing in my younger days. I think of all the times I've trying to keep it bottled up inside. It seems the more you think that you may know, it's better just to let those feelings go. Sometimes I have to cry out loud at the joyfulness of people I have found. They seem to find the brightness in each day, and it makes them seem to glow in such a beautiful way. Sometimes I have to laugh out loud at the simpleness of people I have found. I'm up all night just worrying about my days, and they always seem to let their troubles roll away. I think of all the times I've trying to keep it bottled up inside. It seems the more you think that you may know, better just to let those feelings go. Sometimes I have to cry out loud. Sometimes I have to cry out loud. Sometimes I have to cry out loud. Sometimes I have to cry out loud at the bitterness of people I have found. They should get in their cars and just go away, leave that gray overcast for some other day.
Nicely done.
Wow, nice, Brian. Good to hear you again.
Brian, is that
Good
a
to be
new
heard.
tune? I hadn't heard that before.
I wrote that a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice. Thanks for dragging it out tonight. So we'll swing back around and chat a little more the second time through. Let's hear it one more time for Brian Dozer, everybody.
Oh, Brian.
All right. So now tuning in from Georgia, some in an undisclosed location in Georgia, I believe. Andy Offit Irwin is with us tonight. He's quite a good musician and storyteller, and he's been with us once before. I wanted to get him back in before it was all over. So, Andy, we'll chat a little bit more about what's coming up with you next time. But if you just want to do something for us now, that would be great.
You've inspired me to do something Greek because I didn't realize you had Greek lineage. So this is
Let me show it to you there. It's the hair. That's Greek, man.
That's great. Oh yeah. Wait a minute. There we are. Kylie, wait, just a second. I did tune. What happened?
Was it in tune when you bought it?
Yeah, man. A couple of years ago, I put out a Facebook thing said, "Send me the first line to a kid's song," and this one's from Kevin Kling. I am just a rambling boy, Ithaca bound, making my way there from Troy. Here's an adventure that I found. Is the Cyclops winking or blinking? That eyeball in his head. I listen for sounds of serenity with every word that he has said. I notice his squint, his mouth smirky slant. Can I see a friendly glint? No, I can't. And his complimentary mints are covered with ants. And his Cyclops winking or blinking. Oh, is the Cyclops winking or blinking? How can I judge his mood? I wonder what he is thinking. I'm thinking he thinks of me as food. Compared to this giant, I am a little shrimp. He's putting mascara on his one-eyed two primp. How can you tell if a snake has a limp? And is Cyclops winking or blinking? Oh, is the Cyclops winking or blinking? I just want to leave this cave. And from the way this cavern is stinking, I can tell Polyphemus don't never bathe. I wonder how this drama ends. This giant ain't getting no help from his friends, but he only pays half for his contact lens. And the Cyclops winking or blinking. Oh. That is the end of the instrumental verse. If I don't, I know it's not an instrument, but it could be worse. And if I don't whistle, Don White will curse, and his Cyclops winking or blinking. Oh, that's my Irish tenor voice. I wanted to do an Irish tenor voice. Oh, that's that part, just to make it St. Patrick's Day. His eye Cyclops winking or blinking. All alone he feels bereft. And I saw him try to swat that fly. It's clear he cannot perceive depth. So I stabbed him in the eye. Yes, I know, ew. Sometimes you gotta try when there's nothing else to do. Now I've gotta ride out underneath this U. All right, so obviously this is Odysseus singing this. This is Homer's Odyssey. This is ancient Greek literature. And Odysseus is what's happening. He's making his way. He's on the journey, and he notices there's not as many friends around, and he looks around. And then he comes by a cave, and he smells something cooking in the cave. He goes, wow, that smells really good. And he goes into the cave, and he finds out what it is. It's his friends that are cooking. And Polyphemus, and that's Polyphemus is the name of the Cyclops, and that obviously means many Phemuses. I think I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The plural would be Femi. Anyway, he and Polyphemus sees him, and Polyphemus, he is concerned about his food sources. A lot of people are concerned about, surprised by that. So Polyphemus looks at Odysseus and says, "What is your name?" And Odysseus is wise to him, and he says, "Nobody." And Polyphemus says, "What is your name?" And Odysseus says, "Nobody." "What is your name?" The whole time he's whittling. Odysseus is whittling on a stick, and he goes, and he taps him in the eye. Goes, nobody has stabbed me in the eye. Nobody has stabbed me in the eye. And all the other giants in the neighborhood go, "Nobody has stabbed Polyphemus in the eye. Nobody has stabbed Polyphemus in the eye. Polyphemus ain't stabbed in the eye." And then Polyphemus is so dumb that he ends his sentences with prepositions. So he goes, "Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?" So Odysseus crawls up under the sheep, to hide from Polyphemus' feeling of him and everything. And he goes, "Yeah, sheep." He's trying to get the sheep out. And it's obviously the sheep is a ewe. And ewe is a sheep, a female sheep. He's no longer winking or blinking. Oh, he's no longer winking or blinking. That's for your mother's.
Bravo.
Bravo. Woo-hoo.
Oh, Andy, all right.
That was awesome.
That was hysterical.
Greek mythology on St. Patrick's Day for an Irish Greek person. That's perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Andy. That was tremendous. Everybody.
All right, Andy.
Honor to be here, y'all.
Well, I must say, I'm really delighted that Pat Victor could be here. He's a busy guy and accomplished man, and I just wanted to get him back here just so I could see him before I kill this thing at the end of the month, and then I have to find people in person after that, and that's much more difficult, much harder to do. But Pat, you doing okay?
I'm doing really well. I mean, we have pandemic asterisks attached to everything, but but yeah, I'm doing well. I'm feeling good. I'm healthy. I'm starting to get little bits of work here and there, and I've got a roof over my head. I have a wonderful wife. I have a wonderful family. I'm a happy person.
I'm glad to hear all of that. I'm glad to see you. I mean, it's not talking out of school to let people know that Pat had COVID early before they even knew what it was, and so we were all. I personally was really worried about you at the beginning. In fact, I saw Katie Curtis last night. I was at an event at Passim, and she had COVID, but just recently, and not. She had been vaccinated and all that, and we were talking about you and all that. So your name was invoked at Club Passim last night.
I
So
felt my ears burning.
Did you? Yeah, good. Right around about 8:30 last night.
Yeah, this burning sensation in my ears. It was just really
it wasn't
uncanny.
a long-term COVID thing. It was us talking.
Yeah, I thought it was just long COVID symptoms, but now I know I was just being talked about by my friends, which is wonderful.
Yeah, it was. Why don't you play something and we'll get into it a little more about what you're up to and all that next time around.
Sure. And thank you so much for having me, Don. It's an honor always to be a part of anything that you do. So thank you.
Pat, I really think the world of you, honestly. So this is great. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I thought I would do a song that a friend of mine wrote, David Mowry from the duo Boku Blue. This is a song he wrote that I think of as a plea for compassion. Here's another one, like so many you heard. A few more tried, true and trusty words. One more prayer sent up, strangled and choked. Another voice in the wilderness, gone up in smoke. From the prime example of a life gone wrong. The witless fool caught in his siren song. The hapless pedestrian as the streetcar hits. Another heart cracked, crucified and smashed to bits. Well, if feeling bad is feeling blue, some are bluer than the midnight sky. Midnight sky. Feeling bad and feeling blue, and they don't know why. There's nothing outside to bother or blame. No way, no how, and no one to name. No trouble, no burden that others don't bear. No lack of this or that, no special woe or care. I'm just singing the blues to register my complaint. Some of us got a voice in and others ain't. I'm crying for myself and others as well. Ain't no stoic here twixt heaven and hell. Well, if feeling bad is feeling blue, some are bluer than the midnight sky. Midnight sky. Feeling bad and feeling blue, and they don't know why. If feeling bad is feeling blue, some are bluer than the midnight sky. Midnight sky. Feeling bad and feeling blue, and they don't know why.
Wow.
Whoa, Pat, that was awesome.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
That was perfect. I mean, elegant, just beautifully done. Honestly.
It's a beautiful song. I'd wanted to learn it for so long, and I finally found a way to do it.
So Boku Blue, you guys should know about them. It's a father and son deal. The dad's had some health issues, so I mean, I trust that he's okay these days. Last time I saw him.
I hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. They're out of Philadelphia. Beaucoup. Boku Blue. Look them up. They're fantastic and wonderful.
Yeah.
And next time I see them, I'll tell them they have to give that song up because you did it. It's your song now, man. That's really something. All right, one more time for Pat Victor.
Oh, Pat, great.
Thanks so much, Don.
Okay, Brian. Let's see. Aside from your daughter's play, you still doing the Music Man online show?
Hang on, I'm trying to do what Pat was doing there. It's no good. Can't do it. Man's a genius. Yes, I'm still doing. I do children's music. Right now, it's 3 days a week, and that too is coming back a little bit. But I'm not going to be able to keep going doing that. It's pre-pandemic. That was my living, but the preschools and all that just haven't quite bounced back. So hopefully they will. Might be good.
So you're not doing them with real kids in the room like at your town?
Oh no, I am. Yep, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. We've had full crowds too. There's still the parents that feel too cautious to bring the kids there, but there's a whole mess of people that are just bringing them, and it's been great to sing in front of real kids again.
Yeah,
little kids.
Brian has a really unique way of doing his kids thing. He doesn't make them sit down, doesn't do anything. He walks around with a cordless microphone and just lets them go wild. It's like Brian in the middle of a 2-year-old mosh pit. It's really something.
Yeah, pretty close. I get little kids today, especially. They just pick up the toy guitars. I have a whole crate of them, and they just pull them out, and they just follow me around like they're playing. And I try to kneel down so I can be at their height, and then they kneel down because I'm knelt down, so they have to kneel down too. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's a
A lot of fun.
really, especially for little guys, like preschool guys. It's a really, really fun thing, and it's smart
Good.
too. I think, you can't get little guys like that to, you know, like just sing your songs and let them do what they want.
Yeah, that's the rules too. Basically, there are no rules. You don't have to sit behind them and make their hands clap. And I just find that there are people who do that, and that's fine. But I'm more the show up often, let the kids just absorb the music and enjoy it. And if they're shy, some people are like, we can't come back. They're too shy. They're a little. I'm like, just come back. Just let them be shy. I've had some kids 6 months wouldn't leave their mom's laps, and then all of a sudden, plop down on the floor, following me around, singing all the songs with me. It's fun. It's a blast, actually.
But every kid's got their own timetable for feeling
Yeah,
comfortable, right?
yeah, and I feel like it's that's one thing that a lot of parents don't. They don't want to respect that, or they somehow think that the kids should just show up and want to participate and jump around, and it's good. It's a very welcoming atmosphere. Every kid from every end of the spectrum comes.
And are you doing any online shows anymore, or that's
I do Wednesday morning at 10, so I do Monday, Thursday, and Saturday live, and then Wednesday at 10, and I get a pretty good following there that have still been there through the pandemic. So it's
if you want to find it, it's the Music Man.
yeah, just look up the Music Man or put my name, Music Man Brian Dozer, put it into Facebook or YouTube, and you'll find it.
Yeah, if you got little guys, send them down. It's a good. He'll take care of them while you can cook something or whatever. All right, Brian, give us another tune.
Well, before I go, Don, I have to thank you, of course, for everything. I mean, one of the things that got me through the pandemic was, like Brandon, doing a lot of online work, and I really appreciate all the support and the help you gave me.
Well, yeah, then let me just send that out to everybody. Brian is a fantastic technician, a sound engineer. Did all the mixing and mastering and recording on several of my albums, but he adapted quite quickly to being able to be doing what Brandon's doing behind the scenes for live performances and community gatherings. If you're doing a bigger Zoom thing or something, you need somebody to take care of all the little things that come up. Between Brandon and Brian, you've got, I think, two of the best that are out there, really. So keep that in mind as things go on, because this is not going away. People are still gonna be doing this sort of thing. So I recommend them both highly. They show up on time, and they're good under pressure, both of them. As we've proven many times, haven't we, Brian?
Yeah, I would not to drag it out, but I did a thing with our friend Jeff Bartley the other night, right? Who has hardly done anything virtually, right? I don't think he has done anything virtually. So he came and I was doing the work from here, and they were down in Wakefield at a house, and I actually went down there, drove to make sure the mic and the camera were set up right, and I got back here, and it turns out the mic cable was bad on the microphone. I said, well, change that out, and the guy said, we don't have a spare. And we're about 10 minutes to showtime, and someone had to run back to their house, get a mic cable, and come back and get it plugged in. It was precarious, but he sounded so good. It was so good to hear him.
I actually saw him for a minute last night. He was at the event in Passim, so
nice. All right, well, I'll do. This is my theme song, pretty much. So I know a lot of you don't know me that well, but I'm a little bit outspoken at times, and I have a pretty warped sense of humor. So this kind of was my explanation song for that. Well, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't be like you. I've done an awful lot of things in my life like other people do. Well, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't act that way. But I'm the one that I gotta live with 24 hours a day. I think you got it, right? My parents came over to visit and they made me clean my room. Mom said, hey, what a nice kitchen, and she handed me a broom. Then she said, I'll cook up a nice dinner while your daddy cuts your hair. It was the old days when I had the hair. This is what they heard me say as I escorted them very nicely down the stairs. I would never kick them down the stairs. I said, Mom, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't be like you. done an awful lot of things in my life like other people do. Well, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't act that way. But I'm the one that I gotta live with 24 hours a day. And I went to music school to really hone my trade. They said there's only two things wrong with you, the way you look and the way you play. But we said we'll give you this piece of paper if you sing like Placido. They said, yes, that's it, you got it. And I said, no, I'm gonna be an underemployed folk musician. I said, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't sing like you. I've done an awful lot of things in my life like other people do. Well, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't sing that way. But I'm the one that I gotta live with 24 hours a day. Got pulled over with a busted taillight while driving into town. Policeman pushing up in my face like some big old clown. I said, hey, Dunkin' Donuts breath, ain't your coffee going stale? Officer? This is what they heard me say from my cell inside the jail. I said, Your Honor, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't be like you. I've done an awful lot of things in my life like other people do. Well, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't act that way. But I'm the one that I gotta live with 24 hours a day. Alright, at the risk of making Brandon crazy, you can unmute and sing along with me, out of tune and out of time. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't be like you. I've done an awful lot of things in my life like other people do. I'm sorry that I'm not sorry that I can't act that way. But I'm the one that I gotta live with. Big ending, 24 hours a day.
All right. Brian, that was awesome. Great job.
Thanks, Brian. You rock.
All right, Brian.
I remember that from when you were a young man.
Yeah, that's when I had the long hair.
I was still old then, but you were young. All right, well, one more time for Brian. Let's see.
Yeah, Brian.
Okay, Andy. Let's talk a little bit. So, one thing I know you're doing is you're going to be with me in Kansas.
Yeah.
And with me and Alan DeBay.
Alan, yeah.
And what's that date here?
April
something?
April, no wait.
21st, 22nd, 23rd, that weekend.
That
right?
sounds close enough.
Right? So the Kansas Storytelling Festival, but anything else you want to let people know about what you're up to? Any online presence or any things like that going on? Or
Not a lot of online anymore. That's just fading away. I'll be in Frankfort, Kentucky on March 29th. I'll be in Venice, Florida, April 9th and 10th at the Utilitarian Church. And I'm Teller in residence at the International House of Storytelling on May 3 through 7th. And this is boring, so I'm tired. Anyway, AndyIrwin.com, my calendar. So I'm starting to show up now. Stuff is.
Yeah, I feel that way too. I feel like it's opening up a little bit. I have a gig this weekend in Connecticut. I played last weekend. You don't hear about anybody getting really sick who's been vaccinated now, so I think people are willing to come out and try it. So, and also the club owners are much more forgiving. Pat, you'll have to know that they grade on a curve now. So where you used to get 150, if you get 60, they're like, hey, well, that's like a sellout. Everybody's so happy. All right, Andy, why don't you do something for us?
Well, this is a piece of a story. Since you mentioned Shakespeare, my uncle Charles was a great Shakespeare fan. My aunt Marguerite is 85 years old, only recently graduated from medical school. The way she explained, my husband Charles loved the Shakespeare. He liked to recite it out of context. I've been a widow a long time. Ask me how long I've been a widow.
How long you been a widow?
I bet. Well, when Charles passed away, we got a his and hers tombstone. That's a better value, and it is. And his name's on one side when the year he was born, and the year he died, and then my name's on the other side, and the year I was born, and then there's a 19. My tombstone's got the Y2K. Well, my girl, thank you, all sweet. My girl Francine, my daughter, she lives up there near Club Passim up there in Cambridge. She has 2 PhDs. She's not a doctor because she would have to deal with people. And she suffers from HDD, puberty deficit disorder. She won't eat meat, you know. She won't eat meat. She won't use leather. There are not a lot of pictures of her daughter when she was young because before the digital camera, it required film, and film requires gelatin, which is an animal byproduct. So I was so excited to go through Cordele, Georgia, which is the watermelon capital of the world. And 2 watermelons had fallen off a school bus truck. Do y'all have those? Y'all don't have. What it is they take a school bus and they cut the top off and they take out all the seats and they pile the watermelons in there. And I was behind one of those school bus trucks and a couple of those watermelons had fallen out. And I was so excited. And I took my phone, you know, y'all got one of these. Did y'all know there's a camera on here? It's like a Swiss Army phone. Did y'all know that?
Yes.
Oh, it does. And I was so excited. I stopped my 1968 Plymouth Fury, which is the last car Charles gave me before he died because he hasn't given me any car since. And I took a picture of the watermelon in the intersection, and you can send it on the email. And I sent it to Francine. I said, Francine, you'll love Cordele, Georgia. All the roadkill's vegetarian.
Oh, dear.
Well, as I said, Charles loved Shakespeare. And he had a dog named Prince and a dog named Spot. And I just thought, well, these are unoriginal dog names, but Spot was a Pooley sheepdog Dalmatian mix and would come in from the rain. He would say, out, out, damn Spot. And when Prince was getting towards the end of his life and his kidneys stopped working, we called old Dr. Exley. We didn't know there was big and little animal veterinarians. He worked on birds. He worked on horses. Andy went over and came over and helped dig the grave, and Dr. Exley gave him his shot to euthanize him. And Charles said, good night, sweet prince. May a host of angels carry thee to thy rest. Francine was always disturbed by the way Charles quoted Shakespeare, and she thought it was out of context, especially when he was cussing at Spot, because I said, don't cuss in front of our daughter and her friends. He said, honey, that's Shakespeare. It's classical. But at the end of his life, he was in the hospital. That's before the hospice had come to the South. It took a while for hospice to come to the South because the first time they ever heard, a lot of people in the South ever heard of hospice was from Bill Moyers on the PBS, so they think death and dying is a liberal issue. And I called Francine. I said, Francine, you need to get here now. Your father's not long for this world. And she arrived. When she arrived, I was drinking coffee from a vending machine in a styrofoam cup, and that's God's way of telling you need to go to bed. She came up, and she's kind of like your Irish people, Don. She doesn't like to hug. She doesn't want people to feel the bones in her back and whatever. But I gave her a hug, and Charles was in the room, and a doctor was there, and a nurse was there, and they had started an IV with morphine, because it was really, he was in some pain. And when she put the needle in, he said, if you pierce us, do we not bleed? And then they started the morphine, and he said, all's well that ends well. Francine looked at me and said, "Why does he have to do that now, Mother? Why does he have to do this?" And I said, "Sugar, don't you know anything about your father? Your daddy's a show-off." And he heard us out there and he said, "Francine, get in here." And Francine went in there. He had the bed, that little bed thing. The bed does everything. They sell those on late at night to old people now. But, he lowered the bed. And he patted the bed for her to sit down. And he raised it. And he lowered it. And Francine said, "Daddy, stop." And Charles said, "Darling, all the world's a stage. And all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and entrances, and each one in his own time play many parts, his acts being 7 ages. First the infant, mewling and puking in his nurse's arms. And then the schoolboy with his satchel and fresh morning face, creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad to his mistress's eyebrow. And then the soldier, bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice with fine round belly from good capon line, beard of formal cut full of wise saws and modern instances. And so he plays his part. The 6th age shifts to the lean and slippered pantaloon, spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his hose shrunk shank. That means what you think it does. A world too wide for its shrunk shank. And his big manly voice turned to childish trebles, pipes, and whistles in its sound. Last stage of all, second childishness and mere oblivion. Son's eyes, son's taste, son's smell, teeth, son's everything. Francine leaned over, and their tears mingled. And that was the first time she really ever understood.
All right, Andy.
Thank you, y'all.
Thanks a lot for doing that,
Wonderful.
Andy. I appreciate that. That was really good, man. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, but yeah. When I wrote both of my books, I would just pull Shakespeare off the shelf and open it up just to get the flow of language in my head.
Yeah,
There's
and you've
something
got
about-
that too. You really do.
Well,
The language.
Yeah, yeah. So that meant a lot to me. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. So we'll go around one more time. We're gonna run a little later than normal today. I can see, but I'm having fun. All right, Pat
Goes
Wichter.
so long, sorry.
What do you still doing your Wednesday things, Pat? Pat.
Yes, the first. I've now got it on the first Wednesday of every month, and I'm
Brandon,
calling
can
it
you put-
Wichter Wednesdays.
I'm gonna put that in the chat for everybody. So and then you do that from your house, and it's on Facebook,
right,
is it?
right in
Yeah.
front of my bookshelf here.
Yeah. Well, I recommend that highly. Pat, really one of the best musicians that I know, but, I know a lot of good musicians. He's just a good guy too. That's the thing.
Thank you.
Anything coming up outside of your house?
Yes, I have a whole slew of things outside my house, actually. None of them are in Massachusetts, though.
Well, we
But
got representatives from all around the country here,
yeah, I have a thing in Connecticut on March 27th, actually, at a new venue. It's in western Connecticut, near Danbury. I have Let's see. I have a house concert in Philadelphia on April 9th with my friend Deborah Latz, who's a wonderful jazz singer that I do a duo with, and we're going to be doing some. We have sort of a unique repertoire for the two of us, which is really fun and lovely. I have a concert in Darlington, Maryland on April 23rd at the Deer Creek Coffee House. I have a show with Abby Gardner on May 7th in Long Island.
Is that going to be like the Dueling Dobro show?
It is. The presenter has the presenter has billed it as Legends of Slide Guitar,
Nice.
which is kind of funny and wonderful. And I have a slew of shows in June with Reggie Harris and Carol Ann Solabello. We're going to be at Godfrey Daniels in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania on Thursday, the 16th of June, at 6 on the Square in Oxford, New York on June 18th. And we're going to be in Kingston, New York at First Acoustics House Concert on June 19th. So,
Well, it's really great to see your calendar filled up like that, Pat. I mean, I wish you well.
Thank
It's
you.
been a long run. You good, so our paths are going to cross. Anytime you're within striking distance of here, I'm kind of near New Hampshire now, but anytime you're in the zone over here, I'll drive. I'll drive to come hang out with you, man.
Well, thank you. Likewise, I'll if I'm half a state away, I will I will call you and I will drive at least half a state to go see you. So.
States are small over here.
It's true. The Northeast, it's half a state isn't much. I'll drive a whole state to see you, man. So,
Half a state. It's like 10% of Texas.
It's true.
All right, so go ahead and play something for us. I don't want to run too late.
Sure thing. I've been on a jag as I have sort of ignited my performing. I have been learning a bunch of songs, so I thought I would share another one that another person wrote. This one is actually by the great Mose Allison, and I fell in love with it. This is called "The Way of the World." I've heard cries and whispers like a storm up in the pines. Seen fires set up on a house like angry kudzu vines. Seen grown men on their knees, but that story's old as time. It's just the way of the world. Just the way of the world. I've heard every battle is the one to end all war. Seen thousands fall in line and never know what for. And still our greatest fear is just that knock upon the door. It's just the way of the world. Just the way of the world. Is there any difference in the sun that climbs or falls, or in facing? I'll try this one again. In trying to get in or out when facing down a wall. I just know I must get over, as somehow must we all. It's just the way of the world. Just the way of the world. Just the way of the world.
Wow, Pat,
Love
that's
it.
great.
Wow.
Thanks.
Mose Allison, oh man.
Wow.
Allison,
I
one
had an
of
entertainment
my heroes.
partner that was helping me out for a while, and she helped him with his book, I think. And she said that he was the most gentle man. But she said when he talked about how bad he got screwed in the music business, that was the only time you ever saw him not be gentle. Like he really burned in music. But she just said that he was just as quiet and gentle as a person as you could ever imagine. It was wonderful. Go ahead.
I'll bet the offstage person was very much like the person on stage, you know, witty, sardonic, you know, soft-spoken, you know.
Yeah.
But he was one of these special people because he was really a genre unto himself, you know. He wasn't quite a jazz musician, he wasn't quite a blues musician, he wasn't what you think of as a singer-songwriter, but he was really all of those. And there wasn't anybody like him. He was this completely unique figure, you know.
And it's quite a big repertoire. I mean, he made albums forever. You know, Mose Knows, Mose Goes, you know, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, prolific.
Yeah. Well, thanks for doing that. That was really cool. Just said a
Yeah,
nice
it was. Yeah.
All right, thanks. All right, so Alan, do you have another story for us, buddy? Something you can do, you know, for us now?
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
I'm ready.
Go ahead.
It all started off on an ordinary day until I woke up. You see, when I woke up, I heard this little tiny voice. I looked all around, but there was nobody there. And then on the floor, I saw this little tiny spider. And I knelt down and I listened. And this is what I heard. Hello, I'm Miranda. I'm a spider. Please don't step on me. And I didn't step on that spider. I took good care of it. And then one day I decided what I was going to do with it. I was going to use it for fishing, to catch fish with her underwater spider webs. But I did have a problem. You see, spider webs are not strong enough and they aren't waterproof enough to catch fish. And this did perplex me. But then one day I figured it out. I devised a new diet for Miranda consisting of ground up concrete and water sealer. I mixed it all up and fed that to Miranda. And you know what? Within 3 months, her spider webs were as strong as concrete, as waterproof as water sealer, and still as flexible as spider webs. And so I took her down to the lake and had herself tie herself to my fishing line, and I cast her out. I waited half an hour and she came crawling up her web. I waited another half an hour. My line broke. But the next time I went out, I was much smarter. I just drove my truck down to the edge of the lake and had herself tie herself to the hitch of the truck, and I threw her out. I waited an hour and she came crawling up her web. And I got in my truck, and my truck was barely able to haul those 3,000 pounds of fish out of the lake. And that's when the local wildlife officer came walking in my direction, and he was not in a good mood. He said, "You realize it is illegal to use nets in the lake?" And I said, "Yes, of course I know that, but I didn't use a net in the lake." "Well, what do you call this?" I said, "It's a spider web." And I showed him Miranda and explained how she had made the web. He said, "Well," and I'm not sure if he bought that hook, line, and spider or not, but he did let me go. but he told me to never, ever use spider webs in the lake again, and I never did. But I knew this was a great idea, and I asked Miranda if she could train other spiders to fish, and she said, sure. And she started training spiders. I was going to go into the business of selling fishing spiders. But now this was a good 30 years ago, and people around where I live just weren't buying it. And so I had to devise a system of hooking computers up together, and I named it the Internet, which became known as the World Wide Web. And now,
Shameless. You're shameless.
Oh, Alan, that was awesome.
Shameless.
That
Hook,
was
line,
great.
and spider.
Oh.
You know, you have to give you your Miranda rights. Hey. Thank you, Alan.
That was great, Alan.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. And all right, we'll see you in Kansas in just a few weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So this is the lightning round. So no chatting. Just 1, 2, 3. Let's play a song. Brian Dozer, on your mark, get set. Go ahead, buddy.
Forget your lines, forget your shoes. You can even forget the train. Forget the time, forget the blues. Listen to the rain. Remember the smiles, remember the years. Remember the faces and the names. Remember the love that you hold dear. Listen to the rain. Feel the thunder and the cry of the wind as it whistles through the window panes. It's like a whisper as you sleep in the night and listen to the rain. Listen to the rain. Listen to
Beautiful.
Oh, Brian, that was awesome.
Lovely.
That was nice.
All right, Brian, we'll be face to face here pretty soon. So all the best to you. Good luck in the play and all that. One more time for Brian Dozer, everybody.
Hey, Brian.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Don.
Okay. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, Andy, on your mark, get set, do something.
Melody, I'll be at Eddie Owen Presents at the Red Clay tomorrow night. I forgot. Tarry here, where the stories never grow old, and you hear something new every time they are told, and it comes clear. To tarry here, where it doesn't matter your age, and when we gather around the table, we all take the stage year after year. And tarry here, we're living now and we're all in this place. So be sure to smile at each passing face as it draws near. and Terry here. And then we all will see the me and you, the you and me. And as we leave these grounds, we can rejoice in what we found. So tarry here with Catherine, Sid, Jackie, and Doc. And when we tell their tales, we stop the clock. I know they're here. They're tarrying here. And tarry here, where the stories never grow old, and you hear something new every time they are told, and it comes clear to tarry here.
Beautiful. Wow.
Beautiful.
Hey, nicely done, Andy.
That
Aw,
was beautiful.
such an honor to be here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon
Downs, Kansas,
in Downs, Kansas.
where
Yeah.
we will be world famous in Downs, Kansas.
You know, if they have a coffee shop, I'll buy a coffee.
All right, man.
I can't promise you, but that they have one. But I think I was there once. I think maybe there's a place. Alan, is there a coffee shop in Downs, Kansas? Come on.
The truth.
Your sound is messed up, Alan. I don't know what that is. Oh well. Put it in the chat. Yeah, I can't hear you. I don't know what's going on there. All right, but I'm looking forward to it. It's a wonderful place. I did a concert there. That's the last concert I did before COVID was in Downs, Kansas.
Oh, get out.
Oh, wow.
And then and we drove back across the state. We were going to fly back, but we had to fly through Chicago, and that was the day after. Everybody from overseas was told either come today or not. So we just felt like you could see COVID hanging from the ceiling.
Yeah.
The European variety. Like, let's bring all the COVID from Europe into O'Hare, and then Dawn and Teresa will just come strolling in and suck it up.
Oh my goodness.
Locked in.
Like jumbo jets full of it, you know. Oh my God.
What is this stuff all over these chairs here? What? So we drove, and it was the most amazing. Our kids were calling us up going, what is wrong with you people? We're like, hey, what's it like to be dealing with reckless relatives? I'm supposed to be on the other end telling you that you're acting irresponsibly.
Payback.
we go through Indiana or Illinois, and they shut the state down as soon as we get through. Right, one after another.
Right. You can see the gate slamming down behind you as you're going.
Oh,
you know?
that almost hit the back of the hatchback, right?
Yeah.
We stayed in a hotel in upstate New York. No, it's 80 rooms in it. We were the only people in it. It was like The Shining. It was just right out the door, and I'm like, Johnny's here, you know. All right.
Oh,
All right. Pat Wick, Victor, but I love you to pieces. Play us
I love
something
you
and
too,
take us
man.
home, buddy.
What if the truth is too bitter to take? And if my story is all fake, but it makes me feel okay, does it matter anyway? What if a lie holds the sun up in my sky? I look myself right in the eye and say I'm doing fine, long as the world falls into line. What if the story I tell myself is all wrong? What if it's me and I can only sing one song? What if the story I tell myself is all wrong? What if it's me and I can only sing one song? One song. What if I see only what causes me no shame, and the rest I hope will stay excluded from the frame? Can I bear to take some blame? What if the story I tell myself is all wrong? What if it's me and I can only sing one song? What if the story I tell myself is all wrong? What if it's me and I can only sing one song? One song. One song.
Beautiful, Pat. Beautiful. Wow.
Beautiful sounding song, and the guitar, really beautiful sounding, Pat.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Pat.
Thank you.
That was great, Pat. Yeah, you put such great energy into the world. You're the best. What is that line? What if it's a lie that hung the sun in my sky? Is that it?
What if a lie holds the sun up in my sky?
That is a nice piece of writing there, young fella.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have one more thing. I want you to tell me about that guitar. Are those extra frets on it?
No, these are fret markers. They're sort of a head fake because they look like frets, but they're actually flush with the fingerboard. And instead of having dots, they have these little half.
I thought you were inventing half notes on that thing.
Yeah, no, there's nothing tricky going on here.
It's a beautiful sounding guitar too.
Sounds
Oh,
great.
thank you. It's
Yeah.
carbon fiber.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
okay.
This one you can leave out in the snow, right?
You can play in the rain.
Yeah,
Right?
yes, this one has been through a lot, including going headfirst down a flight of stairs, and it wasn't even out of tune. I mean, it was
Wow.
just,
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty.
Wow.
They make guitar cases of the same material, so, you know.
Wonderful. Look, and I really look forward to us being face to face, and I'm sure it's going to happen.
Me
And,
too, very
you be
much.
well, be healthy out there on the road, and we'll see
Thank
you at the crossroads, okay, buddy?
You,
One more
you
time
too.
for Pat Wichter.
Yay, Pat. So good to see you, my friend.
Beautiful
No,
stuff.
Braverman, before I do tune to sort of wrap this up briefly, let people know about the show that you're doing for Ukraine, please.
Okay, thank you, Don. Yes, this coming Sunday, 5 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Musicians for the Greater Good, the group that I'm sort of part of from one side there, we're doing a fundraiser for Ukraine, and it's going directly to the people of Ukraine with no fees being taken out. The show itself will be on YouTube. Most of the performers are Ukrainian. Some are going to be on video, others are going to be right from Ukraine. We have few other local performers as well. Please come if you can.
And that information is in the chat. People
It
can
was. I can throw it back in if you'd like. I will do it.
And Brandon, make sure it gets to the other platforms.
Thank you, Don.
Oh, sure. And something else I would say about these things, if this is something you are interested in, that you have feelings about, if you can't make it, it's a good policy to just donate. Just go to the thing. And is it set up to donate now? Could someone go?
Yes, yes. You can just go. Brandon did just put up our website, and if you go right now to that website, that concert is there with a donate button. It will go directly.
Yeah, so I mean, I've gotten in the habit of doing that. If I can't be somewhere, but I believe in it, I'll throw a few bucks at it a week ahead of time, just because, right? So.
And Don has performed for us at our.
I mean, Neil Braverman is the heart of the world in my opinion. So of course he's going to send money directly there, and of course he's going to find Ukrainians to perform at it and all that. So he's just the best. So Neil, I love you. I'm gonna end it with this song last week too. I want Pat and people that are here for the first time to hear it. I wrote this song when I was 20 years old. I went before my son was born. At the time, it might have been 1979 or something like that, or in there somewhere. My son was going to be born in a few months, and I think the government at that time was talking about sending soldiers to El Salvador. Like, there's so many of these things you can't even keep track of them. And I was just thinking, now I'm going to have a son, and war, and I just wrote this thing, and I'd forgotten about it. It was a song I played all the time in my 20s, but I've dug it up just to sort of remind myself that as a young man, I wanted my kids to know that there are multiple interpretations of what a hero is, and that while you're absorbing the world's interpretations, just throw your father's in there too. See if that carries any weight in it. And I just want to say one thing, this stuff that's going on, and whenever people are being bombed or whatever, it hurts me. I get hurt by it. Having said that, I grew up seeing a ton of violence, and I'm too old now, but in my day, I would be a soldier. If somebody was threatening me, I can separate my pacifist nature from my survival instinct. I could do it and sleep well at night, I think. So I'm saying that, right? That I'm two things. I'm a peace person, a pacifist, really. But I also am not I wouldn't let somebody just take my world away from me. I could be both of those things. Not that anybody cares who I am or what I think. But having said that, philosophically, war has got to be the stupidest thing that ever. Like, what kind of game do you play? What kind of contest are you in where your idea of winning is so stupid that it can be less people died on this side than your side, so I win? Okay, that, like, if that is your criteria for victory, you're an idiot. Okay, you're an imbecile. That is the stupidest thing in the world. There is one less person dead over here than on your side, so we win. Whee! Yippee! Right? So anyway, this is for the heroes. And just think of this. I was a kid when I wrote this. Storm clouds are gathering, and it's in a key that I can't sing it anymore either. Storm clouds are gathering over yonder. The way that they are heading is clear. I can't play it either. A fool's wind is blowing from the capital, and I can feel it getting draftier. And they will tell you they can turn you from a child into a man, but kindness and love can do it better than a uniform and rifle can. And if you really want to be a hero, if you need a cause worth fighting for, try to tell the people that the truth is no one ever wins a war. Everybody loses, everybody loses. That's the way it's always been. One side will lose more, the other side will lose less. Everyone will lose a friend. No one ever really wins. So keep your eyes on the horizon and the clouds rolling in. Remember, real heroes never put their sails up in an arrogant and foolish wind. And if you really want to be a hero, if you need a cause worth fighting for, try to tell the people that the truth is no one ever wins a war. Everybody loses, everybody loses. That's the way it's always been. One side will lose more, the other side will lose less. Everyone will lose a friend. No one ever really wins. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Thanks, Don.
Happy St.
Thank you, Don.
Thanks, Don. I love that song.
It was all downhill for me as a songwriter after 20.
I love it.
I peaked early. I pinnacled early. I think peace is a good thing to talk about now. It's become a cliche and easy thing to mock, over years. But when I was a kid, it meant something. My cousins and all that were fighting in Vietnam. They were doing all kinds of things, and peace mattered. And I think it's time to take that word back. Take it back from the people who mock it and associate it with hippies or whatever they do. It's our word. It's our word, and it matters. So peace, everybody. Peace. All right.